at WLOQ's Orlando Food and Wine Fest in beautiful downtown Orlando, right next to Lake Eola. Right behind me is the Bright House Chef Stage, where some of the brightest chefs from around Central Florida are whipping up some incredible creations, and they're showing us how they do their magic. We're using Viking equipment, and of course, Whole Foods donated all of the food. Let's check it out.
Well, I know you guys have had lots of savory dishes today. I'm going to put a sweet note on your afternoon. Like she said, it's a pumpkin spice cake with a 3-nut frosting. Ooh. Something really great you can make for Thanksgiving. You will not believe how incredibly easy this cake is. I actually made 2 in an hour yesterday, so you can whip through it real quick, and then when everybody comes over to your house and it's like, oh wow, where'd you get that? You can be like, yeah, I made that. Yeah, that's me. So we're going to jump right into it. I have 3 1/3 cups of flour. I just want to tell you that you're going to be able to find these recipes on WLOQ.com. So if you want to go home and try this yourself, you can get right into it. Okay, I have 2 cups of sugar. Now I'm using all organic items today. For those of you who enjoy organic, this makes it so much better. It has such a fresh taste when you use organic items. So I'm trying to get it out here. We're going to do 2 cups of organic cane sugar right into our mixer. This cake is kind of backwards from the way you're used to. Usually you do your wet and add your dry to it. You're going to do your dry and then add your wet to it. So it's kind of a little bit different than what you're used to. I'm using light brown sugar. If you can get it, use dark brown. It makes a much more rich, toffee, caramely undertone to your cake, which is great for the Thanksgiving holiday. So we're going to get the dark brown sugar, and you want to really pack that in. How many of you make pie for Thanksgiving? Kind of tired of the old pumpkin thing? This is a great alternative to that, something that people aren't expecting. I'm also going to add to my sugars and flour 5 teaspoons of baking powder, which may seem like a lot, but it really makes the cake rise beautifully because pumpkin is a very heavy item to put into your cake batter. So we're going to put 5 of these in. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then what I'm going to do is just drop my mixer and let it mix it, so that all the dry ingredients are nice and incorporated before I start adding my wet to it. It's just going to incorporate real nice, and now we're going to add our oil. I'm using organic canola oil. Honestly, if you want to use vegetable oil, anything but olive oil. Hey, doctor! How you doing? That's my dentist. So we're going to add about a cup of oil to this. Get that in there. And this will be a nice binding agent for it and add a lot of nice flavor. And then I'm just going to turn that on low, and I'm going to do my eggs one at a time. Now, I don't know how brave you are. If you are not brave, please break your egg into a separate container and then add it to your cake batter. Because if you drop the shell in, you got to start all over. I am a daredevil, so I'm going to break it right in there and watch me drop it. No, I'm just teasing. And it's going to look more like a cookie dough than a cake batter at first as you add all this together. Can you see that? Isn't that beautiful? Now, I have pumpkin pie spice. If you don't have pumpkin pie spice or you can't get a hold of it, you want to go and just grab some cinnamon, like a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of nutmeg, a 1/4 tea of ginger, and maybe a 1/4 tea of allspice to make up your own pumpkin pie spice. So I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of my pumpkin pie spice right in here as it's mixing. As you can see, it kind of looks more like cookie dough, right? I can't tell you how much liquid is in pumpkin. As we do this, you're going to see it just loosen right up. And this is organic pumpkin, already pureed. But if you want to do your own pumpkin, you want to go to your store and get a sugar pumpkin. You want to cut off the top, take out your seeds and membrane, turn the entire thing upside down, put it all over with olive oil, and roast it at 350 for approximately an hour till it's fork tender. Take the skin off, stick it in a blender, and you're all set. So it all depends on how much of a foodie you are and how much you want to put into it. I used to can stuff because having 3 children, I don't have time to roast an entire pumpkin all the time. All right, see how that loosened right up? Beautiful color. I don't know if you could, I wish you could smell it. You can smell the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the pumpkin. Just to remind you of all the wonderful things about fall that you love. So I'm just going to let that kind of go. And you want to let it go for about 3 minutes until it's nice and smooth. So you have a nice consistency to your batter. We're just going to go a little faster. Isn't that beautiful? And as you bake this, it's going to make your whole house smell amazing. I can't even express to you how good it's going to smell. See how beautiful that is? Now all you want to do with your batter is, doesn't matter if they're square or round, you want to take just your cake plates, and you want to, should I stay over here? Yes? You want to just use the spray with flour in it. Nothing will stick. Your cakes will come out really, really easy for you every time. So you just want to spray your pans very thoroughly and very gingerly so that you got every little corner of it. And I'm telling you, they'll come out perfect every time. So basically, you just want to separate your batter out into your 3 pans, and you want to bake it at 350 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes, and then they come out looking like this. Let me tell you something really easy. When about 15 minutes into your baking, they will be this color, but they will not be baked all the way through, okay? You've got to make sure that when you stick a toothpick in that it comes out clean. Otherwise, when you go to, it's going to fall apart when you go to take it out the pan. See what I mean about it popping right out for you? So now that we've got our cakes done, we're going to start on our frosting. Can you pass me my, thank you. Your frosting has 1.5 cups of macadamia nuts, which I don't know about you, but I'm a huge macadamia nut fan. So 1.5 cups of macadamia nuts, 1.5 cups of pecans, and about, no, I need both of those. The coconut. Thank you. You want to use 3 cups of coconut. Try smiling.
I'm smiling.
My daughter just turned 16. Need I say more? Yeah. So you got approximately 3 cups of coconut. And you just kind of want to toss that together because the next part of it, you're going to cook your base for your frosting, which goes on the stove. So I'm going to grab my, I have 2 cans of sweetened condensed milk. Christiana, can you grab the butter? You're going to take your 2 cans of sweetened condensed milk and 1.5 sticks of butter. Can you hand me a spatula? And you're going to cook this till it's thick and bubbly. Can you go ahead and separate my eggs? Yes, all 4. Sweetened condensed milk is an easy shortcut to an amazing dessert. I can't tell you how many times I use the sweetened condensed milk for so many different things. So we're warming up our sweetened condensed milk, adding our butter. It's a rich frosting. It's the holidays. You're not calorie counting. You're just enjoying. And a friend of mine once told me if I eat it in less than 10 seconds, it doesn't count anyway. So that's what I'm sticking with for now. Yes?
Tell us again about the shortcut with that sweetened condensed milk.
Well, the good part about sweetened condensed milk is that if you cook it for a short period of time, it gets a caramel flavor, almost like dulce de leche.
So like a toffee kind of flavor.
Exactly, exactly, which complements the pumpkin amazingly.
We're all into shortcuts, right? That works? Yeah. Great idea.
Really rich. Excellent. Now I have 4 egg yolks here to richen the frosting a little bit further, and it's also going to act as my thickening agent for my frosting. So I'm just cooking this up. It's melting nicely. I don't know if you can see that. Can they see that? Okay. So you just want to get it so that everything is nicely melted. We're short one egg. It's a good thing I bought a couple extra. That's okay. I still love you, honey. How to make the icing with 3 eggs. There you go. So I'm adding my 4 egg yolks, and at this point you have to whisk constantly because it's such a high sugar content, it will burn quickly. So you basically are going to stir and chit-chat with your friends, or if you do like I do, you ask your lovely daughter to stir for you while you move on to something else. You got it? Yeah. Keep stirring. That just has to come up to a boil, and then it'll be nice and thick and bubbly. At that point, I'm going to add some vanilla, add it to my nuts here, and then just stir it until it's completely incorporated together. Does anybody have any questions, or have I gone too quickly? Because baking is an exact science. You really want to make sure you follow the way you do it precisely, otherwise your cake will fall. Let me tell you a little bit about this recipe. It happened because one Thanksgiving, I had everything to make my pumpkin pies except the evaporated milk. And I don't know if you know much about pies, but you cannot make a pumpkin pie without the evaporated milk. So I was like, well, what can I do to still make a wonderful pumpkin recipe for my family and my friends, without doing this? So I came up with this recipe. Lots of good flavors in there, really good. Pairs beautifully with a nice white wine for your after dinner. I like to have this with the ice wine. I don't know if anybody here has ice wine, but it's wonderful with this cake, let me tell you. Absolutely wonderful. Let me check on our icing here. How are we doing? We're almost there. It doesn't take too long to go, but once you get it there, it goes fast.
We like fast, too.
Oh, we like fast. We like fast.
Tasty, sweet, and fast.
Let me get...
I think you'd be like a huge hit wherever you went with this. You're going to make me look good because I think I'm going to have to do this at Thanksgiving.
You going to try it? I'm telling you, I whipped out 2 of these in an hour.
Really?
Yeah, it's very simple.
I can do 1 and 3, but not 10 and
No, 2 cakes.
Two cakes,
Two
okay.
cakes, 1 hour. 2 cakes.
I'm sticking to 1.
I don't know if you can see this, but as I cook this, my sweetened condensed milk is starting to get a little darker, so it brings out those more caramel toffee undertones to it. We're almost there. Unfortunately, this is the longest part, other than the baking of the cakes. This is the longest portion of making this cake, is getting the icing just right. See how it's starting to get that caramely look with the flecks of caramel in it? Delicious. Pot holder. Oh, okay. Excellent. That'll work. And see how it's starting to thicken up nicely? Now, as you do this, your sugars are breaking down and getting to a point where when they cool, they're starting to harden up for you. Are you guys almost ready to taste the cake? Yeah? Oh, I got a yes over here. All right.
A lot of heads bobbing up and down, too. That's a big yes. Who can say no to that?
Okay. Turn that one upside down. That one. Turn it upside down. There you go. Thank you. All right. See, it's still bubbling even though I took it off the heat there. Now I'm just going to add, give or take, 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Just to give it that nice little back flavor. Ooh, that's hot. There we go. And we're going to pour this entire thing right in here. All right. Spoon? Thank you. And then you just want to incorporate it into all your ingredients. It's going to seem like it's not enough, but it really does stretch out and make a beautiful icing. I don't know, has anybody had German chocolate cake? Very similar to a German chocolate cake frosting, but a German chocolate cake frosting, it has more of a vanilla undertone. This is definitely a more of a toffee flavor, more caramely in flavor. And see how that's just thickening up nicely for you so you can get it to stick to your cake. And I'm almost got it all incorporated. And see how, I mean, it's just enough to make it all come together and very nicely. Ooh, that's warm. All right. Beautiful. So now we're going to assemble our cake. We're going to take it, starting to come together. Nice. So while the icing is still warm, you want to work kind of quickly. You want to be generous with your layers in between, because you're not icing the sides of this cake. You are only icing between your layers. So you want to kind of coerce it towards the edges without making it fall over your edges.
Do you call this stacking the sugar?
I call this, you know, getting the vote for best dessert.
Wow. You get my vote for best dessert.
You want to put about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch between each layer. Make it sure it's centered. And let me tell you, this will cool down quick, so you got to really work fast. Luckily, it's not too cool today. It's staying kind of loose for me. Now, I have to tell you, one of my guilty pleasures is I literally will take a tablespoon of this and just walk around the kitchen eating it. And when people are, I was like, well, I got to taste test it. Quality control. But that's pretty much a lie I stick with. Here, grab a spoon, try it. It's so delicious. I mean, if you're a nut fan, it's really, really tasty. Do you have a spoon? They hid them, see? They specifically hid them. Go ahead, grab some.
Yeah, you finish. Do what you do.
Okay. Okay, and I'm just kind of pressing it towards the edges. You want it to have that kind of, you know, homemade look. You don't want it too finished. And see how beautifully, ooh, that space does not like me. It's such a nice, rich orange color to your cake. It makes it beautiful. Thank you, Christiana. Put some more on top.
Okay, Dan, I have my spoon.
You have a
I'm going in.
Ready?
Go for it.
It is. It's still really
It's still really warm. Isn't that good? I'm like throwing it everywhere.
Wow.
Isn't that
That's
good?
incredible.
You can almost eat that without the cake.
Wow.
It's like a candy unto itself.
I get the leftovers, please. That's amazing. Guys, we're in for a treat.
Now, I like to be real generous on top, but that's because I really like the frosting. But you can kind of,
Extraordinary.
isn't it tasty?
Yeah, really. And you're right about the whole toffee thing going on?
Yeah, nice little caramel undertones. The macadamia nuts give it more character than, say, like a walnut would. So it gives you just a little bit of a different flair.
Subtle. Wow.
Okay,
You
and
do
then
know how to bake a cake, girl.
now I'm going to grab some white chocolate, which I hope is nice and loose for me. Oh, that's a hot bowl. I'm having issues with the hot items today. Let me have this. Okay, all I did with my white chocolate, because I don't know about you, but when you melt white chocolate, it kind of clumps together. So I use a little bit of Crisco in it to thin it out slightly. It does nothing to change the flavor as long as you don't use butter flavor Crisco. Use just a plain white Crisco. It thins it out nicely. And this is not as loose as I would like it to be, but I kind of just drizzle it down the sides and across the top. Somebody's going to get nice big chunks of chocolate because this will not, it's not warm enough. You kind of drizzle, I like to drizzle it down the sides for people. And that is your pumpkin spice 3-nut cake with a vanilla drizzle. Wow. And when your chocolate's right, it drizzles really nice down the sides.